Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Triple Feature. We have a very special episode for you today in which I, myself, Sam, and Joe will present to each other amazing film ideas that we've come up with, a short synopsis that we would present to each other. And then also, this will also, of course, be going out to Universal, to Miramax, to all the major film distributors that they can also possibly, hopefully not steal, but can present us with possibly, I don't know, a little budget to be able to make this. They can buy the rights off us. But we want to present these ideas. Also, let us know what you think is the best movie idea that we're about to give, because nobody knows how to come up with better movie ideas than we have. We watched a lot of films.
We watched a lot, and we've been working. Oh, sorry.
Go.
Oh, okay. We've been working on these for years. We got ideas. We just don't have the money, people. So if you're a money person, tell us which one you want, and we'll contact you. We'll write these scripts up, and we'll get this thing moving.
Yeah.
But we wanted to present some of. I think it would be safe to say we have dozens, if not hundreds, of ideas.
Yeah, and these are just 5 from each of us. I think these are 5.
Yeah, 5.
5 ideas from each of us right now that I have been working on. I have a lot of this already storyboarded out. I have who would play the main characters. I have the main ideas. Even some of these I feel like have some really worked out screenplays. These are money ideas, but getting this to Hollywood is near impossible with the prejudice and all the things that go on. They want things like talent. We've got it. We are bringing it. Yeah. And I think we're going to prove that right now.
I have an idea. She has an idea. It just popped in my head. I have an idea. She has an idea. Do you want to hear my idea? Hope it's a good one. Let's hear your idea.
All right. Joe, could you present to us your first synopsis of your film? Prepare yourself.
Yep. This one's called Detective Dino Cop MD. And it's a rogue scientist clones a raptor in an attempt to avenge the death of his spouse, inadvertently mixing his own DNA with the dinosaur. But the dinosaur decides revenge isn't for him and instead goes into the medical field.
Holy crap.
In which he solves crimes after that. So this could be a movie or a TV show. I imagine it more of a high budget movie. Again, Detective Dino Cop MD. And I really want to set it up for multiple movies ultimately, but yeah.
All right. I love it. Let me tell you why that idea is genius. I love it, one, and I think anybody listening out there that has money, any producers, is that this can go from a movie and then it can spin off into its own TV show when he works there and solves the crimes.
And I mainly want it to be, right now, I want it to be a movie because of the budget. I think having a raptor be the main character can be difficult for a TV show, whether we do the CGI or not. But I think a movie could pull it off.
I think a movie could pull. Would you want to use natural effects or CGI? What would your
I want to do a stop motion claymation.
Okay, stop motion. Yeah, that's a
just
good
for
idea.
The dinosaur. Just for the dinosaur.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Everybody else, yeah.
All right, my first idea for a movie. I think this one is. It's hard to actually put it out there in a thing. I call this one Howlin' at the Moon. When the president of the United States is bitten by a werewolf, he is forced to hunt at night and fight for universal health care by day. Then, seeing no way out of his curse, he devises a plan to blow up the moon. So he uses, what I want to sell this thing about this president is, he gets bitten here, and so he's having as the full moon comes up, he's hunting the Democrats, he's hunting the Republicans. I just want to put that out there. He's not against both. He's doing both of these, and yet at the same time, he's fighting for the people for universal health care, and he realizes what his biggest enemy is the moon. And so he has to try to set up a way to be able to send astronauts up and to be able to shoot multiple nukes and blow up the moon. And I'm just throwing this out here but I think it works, is that I think in a lot of ways you could bring back the crew from Armageddon. We bring back the oil crew to send up to be able to put these nukes back in. Not all of them survived. I need a budget, obviously, of at least $300 million to be able to pull this off. We need werewolves, we need attacks, and then ultimately showing this moon explode. We have multiple sequels of whatever happens after this. I don't know science. I don't think the moon matters, but it would stop werewolves. So that's my idea.
No, and I would say that it would be good for either, like you said, the crew to come back, the oil rig crew, or to have a different, maybe like their children, and the children have to step up, and the children have to now not only be taught to be astronauts, but oil riggers. These people aren't even trained in anything at this point.
Yeah.
And they have to train them complete from the ground up to get out into the space and to blow the moon up.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of twists. I'm thinking of one of the crew turning out to be a werewolf to stop him, or being a vampire. I'm trying, there's a lot of a lot of ideas.
And ultimately, this is a giant metaphor of how the government tries to control women through their cycles of their menstrual periods, right?
Exactly.
That's
crazy. You caught that. That's awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Joe, give us your second plot idea.
This one's called Robot World: Hearts of Iron.
Oh, I like it.
In the future, robots have taken over and humans are kept as pets. Now, one man plans on overthrowing the robots and taking back the power that was once rightfully theirs. But will his star-crossed love affair with a female robot complicate the plans?
Ooh,
this one is you might think of a cross between Real Steel and Planet of the Apes.
Nice.
I do want Mark Wahlberg to be a part of it, and to be the guy that kind of in a similar way doing a spiritual cousin of his character in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, it's a movie that discusses and explores the dangers of AI in our modern world. Should we trust people like Elon Musk? And is it really that bad for a man to fall in love with a robot? And so we explore the sexual taboos in that way too.
Yeah, I think it's exploring the taboos is the main thing. I definitely think that movie, that's a hit. I think that speaks to our culture right now. I think it moves on other types of movies that have worked really well. And I think pulling Mark Wahlberg in, who undeniably is the greatest actor of our generation. Yeah. I think being able to pull in if you bring in the Funky Bunch too, that'd be good. But being able to pull, who would play this robot lady? Who would play robot lady? Who would you assume?
Well, I wanted it to be more progressive, so I thought Caitlyn Jenner.
That makes sense.
But I don't know. I think it would have to test screen with audiences. Yeah. Obviously, it would just be the voice. It wouldn't be the person being in it. But either her or the black lady from Law and Order, who's in charge of all those people. I don't remember her name, but I really liked her and the things that I've seen. So one of those two people.
All right, give me 1 second. I got to plug in my computer's about to die. All right, my next film. This one's a little more simple. I think this one's a little more controversial. And I don't really have a title for this one. That's what I've been trying to figure out. But this one I think really speaks to what just recently happened. After faking their deaths years ago, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and actress Brittany Murphy team up to rig the 2020 election in an attempt to save America. And I thought bringing these characters together over time of really starting in the past and showing Hitler and Mussolini and them and Stalin all getting together and faking their own deaths, knowing in the future that someone much worse named Donald Trump is going to come into power. And then at the same time, feeling like who is also the next person that could fake their death and work the best. And they think, well, who's the actress from Clueless, Brittany Murphy? And they're able to have her fake her death and come together. And I think them in the background of this, while we're showing actual footage from Fox News and CNN and talking about the election and people saying it's rigged, it's not. And Trump knowing who's behind this, mainly Brittany Murphy, and him not being able to say that fully. I'm also trying to throw in a possibility that Brittany Murphy is behind the QAnon.
Now, are you planning on doing deep fakes or CGI doubles, or what's the idea with that thing?
So I want to do deep fakes. I'm hoping to find for Hitler, Mussolini, and Stalin. I'm hoping to find an actual one of their actual heirs, somebody that came from, somebody's related to them that can be closer related to them and play them. And then to be able to pull it. Now, ultimately, my hope is they've actually faked their deaths and we can bring them in. I think that'd be the biggest thing ever, right? And
yeah. Well, that would be a documentary.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm being crazy here to think that it's a possibility. Also, if some of this comes, that this movie may also feature Tupac and Elvis coming in from also faking their deaths.
No, and this is because not only is this a fantastic idea, how has this not already been made?
I thought I saw the idea.
That's the thing, is because these ideas come up and you think, well, you hear it and it's so classic and so relevant that you just assume this idea has already been made. Yeah. And then you look around and it's not been made yet.
No, very few Mussolini films by him faking his death and teaming up with Brittany Murphy.
And we need patent or whatever you do with scripts, because I mean, someone could steal that from you so fast and no one would think it was original because it's just so obvious now once you hear it.
Yeah, no, then that's the thing. So give me your next one, because so far these have been classic.
Okay, this one's called Fox Searchlight presents Dick Wolf's Medea's Law and Order: The Final Case, the movie, Part 1, the sequel.
Well, nice.
Now this one is a movie. So this movie is going to be, if you think Infinity Stones from Marvel, right?
Yeah.
This is Medea comes across an ancient a mask that when she puts on, she's able to grant wishes, or her wishes are granted. But what ends up happening is she ends up crossing over all these different universes from television and TV shows. So it's her and the entire cast of Law and Order, all the Law and Orders, all the Law and Orders, now are on a mission to find where this mask came from and how to restore the proper order balance. Now, as I said, this is Part 1, the sequel. So there's the idea is this is going to be the first movie of multiple, hopefully 4, but this will be the first movie. But what we'll see as time travel comes into it later, there's actually going to be a prequel earlier, which will be Part 2, the original. And then this one in context will be that will be Part 2, the original. This will be Part 1, the sequel. And so it's the first movie by saying Part 1, but you also can put it in its own context by saying the sequel. And so it gets very convoluted and confusing. Think of Primer, or like Tenet or something like that, mixed with Boo and Medea Halloween.
Wow,
that type of thing. Yeah.
No, I think it's very inclusive. I think I remember when I was watching Tenet, I was like, well, this is Denzel Washington's son, but imagine if this was Medea in this role.
Yeah.
And the sassiness, the humor.
Denzel Washington's son.
And so, I love that idea. It's not confusing at all to me. I completely got it. I think some people may say it's pretentious. Some say it's, I think there'd be a lot of words that people would describe it. Lesser people. But I think when you spoke to me and you said everybody from Law and Order, that includes Ice-T, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
Ice-T. I think, yeah, I think you got absolute gold there.
Well, and I think an artist's only option is to be pretentious. I think you have to do that, and either it connects with audiences and they see what you were going for, or it doesn't. But you can't fear pretentiousness on that side.
I think some would call that idea convoluted. Some would say it's stupid. Some say that such a movie'd never be made.
Now,
I would never say that.
When you say convoluted, do you mean convoluted?
Yes. No, I do not mean convoluted.
Oh.
I say convoluted.
Oh, no, convoluted. Yeah. I just wasn't sure. I'm not familiar, but yeah, that's true.
All right. Now that I've been, all right. Okay, this one, this movie's called He Was the Best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have more simple titles. I go for the more simple titles. He Was the Best. Okay. This I think is probably the most original idea I've had so far. I tried to really not pull from anything else. Mm-hmm. When a new powerful terrorist group can't be stopped, the CIA is forced to reach out to a former agent who just wants to live at peace in the wilderness. He was once the best, but that was a long time ago, and he's not that man anymore. He seems to not understand the gravity of the situation, but he assures us he perfectly understands, but he's moved on now. He's got a family, something to live for. Now, if you would excuse him, he thinks we're done here. And this goes on for about 10 pages.
Yeah.
This basically is, there's a new threat, and there was a guy, and he was the best, and this guy just wants to move on. He has a farm. He has a wife and kids. His wife is native, of course. And he just wants to live at peace. And here come these CIA agents coming in and saying, we need you back. And he, of course, is like, I don't do that anymore. Like, I have dark memories. I did what I did. I protected. I'm out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to base this movie on that because I feel like it's time to finally have a movie where you have someone who was the best, and I think who's trying to be pulled back in and doesn't want to be, and that sort of thing. But he's going to come back, right?
Well, and I think too, and you've talked to me about this one before too. And what I liked about it is that the not only is he the best, but you had said before, he doesn't consider himself the best. He considers the guy who trained him to be the best.
Yeah.
But that guy lets us know he's too old for the game. Like, he just can't do it anymore. So he's still really good, but he's not the best. And I like that aspect of that humility that you were going to put in with him, of he doesn't consider himself the best. He was never the best because his trainer was the best, and he just needs to leave this life alone. But these people want to drag him back in.
Yeah. And I don't want to give away a twist here, but in this movie, they come out to his cabin, and he says, I'm done. We're done here. Like, it's time to move on. And the entire movie is about an hour and 20 minutes. And it actually ends with him actually saying, I can't go back. And he just goes back to farming. Nothing actually happens in this movie. He never actually goes to fight. You just know that the terrorists basically have won because he said no. And he goes back to be with his family. And finally, the right decision is made. And some would say probably like that sounds boring. I would say it's a slow burn to nowhere.
Yeah, and it's radically subverting your expectation.
Yeah,
like, I think that's what
he's going to come back. He's going to go back and fight and beat the terrorists. There's going to be action. Things are going to happen. No,
you're going to prepare. You're gonna be entertained.
Yeah,
you're gonna think this was worthwhile. And then when you realize none of that comes true, like me just sitting here listening to you, I've had such a lack of interest in essentially everything you've said. And at first I didn't like that, but now I'm realizing since I expected to, and you decided to turn it on its head, that there's a level of genius in that I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah, and I do want to be able to reach out to people. By the end of the movie, I think I want people going, what was that? Why did I spend $15 on that? I wasn't going to kill myself, but definitely tonight I'm taking the pills. Like, I want that kind of emotion to happen. I want a 15-minute scene where they just sit in there and he just eats a piece of pie, like in the movie Ghost Story, and just stares at them as he eats the lemon meringue pie very loudly.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. And at the end of the 15 minutes, you go, why was that so long?
Yeah.
And you can basically look back at them and say, why aren't you a cinephile? Why do you hate movies?
Yeah. And why do you hate life, or do you hate, I mean, like, what do you hate art? And no, and I think there's that that type of dedication, and complete lack of interest in your audience, I think ultimately pays off at the end.
All right, give us your next movie.
All right, and I just realized this is my last one, so we'll end on yours because I only wrote down 4, although I have hundreds. This one's called Dino Sword. Now I got 2 dinosaur ones here, and I got a lot more, but this one is pretty straightforward, but I think just universally beloved. It's about a paleontologist who discovers an ancient sword among the bones of a T-Rex, and after she cuts herself with the blade on accident, she becomes attached to the sword mentally, and now has dinosaur powers, and decides to fight crime. So, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, but I think we mix this idea of, one, the catchy name, Dinosaur, and this idea of a paleontologist who has to turn from her life of study. So again, I'd say think of what do you call an Indiana Jones movie mixed with Jurassic Park. We got this person who's a scholarly type person who isn't necessarily interested in adventure, thrown into this world, and now she has to use her powers, her T-Rex powers, to find the bad guys. So
I like this. I this whole thing you have going here with dinosaurs, which are obviously, again, very relevant to today, very relevant to what's going on, and being able to mix those powers. I think the main thing is the name. I see that thing of that sword going up, and I see the T-Rex arm grabbing the sword going up. I can already see that.
And the T-Rex. Again, you can kind of think of it too of almost like a Green Lantern, where it's the sword is passed down from one protector to the other. Used to be a T-Rex who sword fought other T-Rexes, and now it's a lady, but has the strength of a T-Rex. And
I think that's
true. It can bite. Like, I haven't fully fleshed it out yet, but
all right. My fourth idea. This one's called Harriet Potter and the Turf Wars. This one is J.K. Rowling commits social media suicide by disguising herself as transphobic, so she can infiltrate an underground turf gang. Now, I think that the idea of the turfs out there, these people that are hating on the trans community and stuff, a lot of people have been mad about J.K. Rowling, and so I wanted to make something that is based on reality, but giving that behind the scenes look of what's really going on. So we get that mix of real and fiction. And so J.K. Rowling this whole time has caused all of this anger with some comments she's made to the trans community. She's really pissed them off. It's been really sad. But I think this movie is a way to bring them together. I see her making these social things, and then secretly joining these groups on Facebook, these turf groups that hate trans people, that are speaking out against trans people, that she's joining this group. Of course, she's armed. That's not a question. Secretly working on a more, she's the reason I call this Harriet Potter and the Turf Wars is because this is all a disguise. One, that she can get in with the turfs. She can get everybody angry, but she's rewriting the entire Harry Potter series from the perspective that Harry is a trans female.
Okay. Yeah.
And so she's going to blow everybody's minds when she comes out with this last book. So she'll rewrite the entire series from this perspective of this thing that we saw. Dumbledore will be back again, but this time he's going to be fabulous. Okay. Yeah. This is going to be much more progressive. We're not just going to find out he's gay later. This one from the very, very beginning, he's not just going to be wearing a gray robe. Like that's super boring. Everything he's going to be wearing is going to be matching. It's going to be classy. He's not going to have a super long beard. He's going to have a nicely trimmed mustache. This is the sort of changes that are going to be happening. But she's going to have to learn this to go undercover. She's definitely going to murder people during this.
And so this is kind of like, what's that movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Affleck, where it was like the kind of documentary, but not really, and he grew a big beard.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like, you can't tell where reality ends and fiction begins. You know? And we're kind of sucked into this world of is it our world or is it not? You know?
Yeah. So you have Harriet Potter, you have Hermione, these different characters that are all going to come together, and it's going to be. I think it's going to really come together beautifully. And I want to give my last idea here. I think this one's closest to my heart. In the conclusion of the Breakin' trilogy, this is Breakin' 3. It never got to get made. If you've seen Breakin' or Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, in the conclusion of the Breakin' trilogy, Turbo and Ozone are drafted into World War III. When they realize that guns and bombs are not the answer, they begin to attack the enemy with the biggest weapon of all, dance. I am seeing World War III gigantic dance battles happening in this film.
This is the movie we need.
Yeah, I know.
This is the movie. Yeah.
I
We've had a nuts. Yeah, keep going.
Sorry, I can't. Yeah, when it came to my mind, I was just like, I can't. I already envisioned these giant scenes of tanks going over and blasting and just Armageddon, and in the middle, Ozone is there, and he is just dancing so hard, and it causes everybody to have to stop. And then we get in these giant dance battles. Go with me. I want to recreate D-Day, but with people coming onto the shore dancing. Snaps, spins, pants that are painted on. They're all coming on, dancing on the thing. People first are shooting, throwing their guns, and then coming down and dancing their way here too. These are all these battles. They start with guns, but the Ozone them. I see them in like they're in camp and they're being yelled at and taught, and they're having to overcome this. We don't need to use guns, guys. This is like Hacksaw Ridge.
No, this is a movie that has the power to end wars, and hunger, and homophobia, and all the phobias. This is the movie I think that has the power to show, like you said, we get the production of Avatar or something where you recreate these battles that are the size of cities that are going on, and you show how the power of dance and love can not only stop the wars but stop the pain.
Yeah, and I think that's a thank you. I think we can end on that. Thank you guys for watching our different movie reviews. Let us know below what your favorite movie idea was, which one you thought was the worst, mainly which one you thought was the best, and comment, like, subscribe to all the stuff. That helps us a lot. Thank you very much.